Quick scenario for you. If I give you all the land on earth, let's say I give you every house, every piece of farmland, every apartment building, all of it, it's all yours. Would you sell it? If I offered you $1 quadrillion, the total amount of money in the world, every dollar, would you sell it? Would you take that deal? Now, how you answer that question actually says a lot about your perspective on value. But for now, hold on to your answer because we'll get back to that question. So if you've been following the series, last week I had Claude audit my strategy. And basically the critique that stuck with me the most was the fact that I didn't have a sell strategy and that I was unprepared in that regard. Now, when Claude told me that, my first instinct was obviously this is a 10K to 100K challenge, so obviously I'm gonna sell at 100K. But after having the week to think about it, I started asking myself a totally different question. What would I actually sell it for? Now, if you want to see Claude's actual response, I'll have it somewhere on screen. And if you want to follow along the rest of the series, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. I post every Monday. So if you're interested, you know what to do. Okay, so let's break this down. The intuitive answer is obviously you take $10,000 cash, you buy Bitcoin, Bitcoin appreciates in price, then you sell Bitcoin for $100,000 cash and then take the cash, park it in a high yield savings like a BIT. Now, the math works perfectly, and if dollars are your unit of value, then obviously that's what you do. But the thing about fiat currency is that it's not actually a measure of value, it's a measure of trust. Trust in a government. And to be honest, if we look at the way that things are going right now, that trust is being diluted into infinity. And how do they dilute that trust? By printing money. And you can see this exact thing by actually just looking at the M2 money supply. Literally in the past 6 years, we have printed almost $7 trillion into the US economy. So the money is actually just losing value through growth in supply, through inflation. So the day where my Bitcoin actually gets to 100,000, what does that actually mean? What value does it represent if the dollar has constantly been losing during that time? And that's the key thing. What is the dollar actually measuring? It's supposed to measure value, but it's constantly losing value. So what makes it a good measure of value? Do you now see where I'm coming from? And to actually exemplify how bad of a measure of value it is, I use the example of technology and how technology is naturally going to make things cheaper, faster. The progress of being able to make things, it should naturally get easier, right? So before you used to need, I don't know, 3 cows and a pull, and now you just need a tractor and one person and you can get 10 times the work done. So technology actually makes things cheaper and faster over time, yet things and prices get more expensive over time. And the simple reason for that is that the dollar is melting away faster than the technology can make up for it. So I've made a short case as to why dollars don't actually represent or measure value. And now a new question arises as to what actually does represent value. And a simple answer is utility. What can you actually do with the thing? Real estate is valuable because you can live on it, you can grow stuff on it. It's a scarce resource, meaning there's limited amount of it. So it has a clear utility. A computer is valuable because you can run software on it, you can take action, you can run a business, play a game. It has a clear utility that brings value to people's lives. And in my case, Bitcoin is valuable because it allows me to self-custody my money. It allows me to transact with whoever I want. It's a scarce asset that can't be diluted. So there's real utility in having the thing. Now, funny enough, one of the biggest critiques Bitcoin gets is that it's not real. What does it do? It's not even, you can't use it for anything. You can't eat it, you can't put it on jewelry. Essentially what people are getting at is the fact that they don't see the utility of Bitcoin. Now, I've obviously done extensive research on it. I see the value proposition of Bitcoin, so I see the utility, therefore I prescribe at a certain level of value. But at the end of the day, all value is subjective. It's whether it has utility to you, has a subjective value to you, and that's the fundamental underpinning of all value. Now, given that framework, look at what a dollar actually is. It's not something you can eat, it's not something you can live in, it's not something you can build with, it's not something you can drink. Essentially what it is it's a representation of value that we use to trade one thing for another. Now, by definition, that means the dollar is simply just a middleman, and not the actual value itself. And truly, the dollar was never designed to be value, it was designed to transfer value. And somewhere along the way, we started treating the middleman like the actual value itself, which is incorrect. So the fundamental lesson from all of this is that things that we use, things that have utility to us, subjective value to us, are the things that have value, and the dollar is just meant to represent that. So to now bring this all full circle, if you remember the question I asked at the start, which was, if I gave you all the land in the world and I offered you as many dollars as you wanted, a trillion, quadrillion, as many dollars as you could ask for, if I offered you that, would you trade all the land on earth for those dollars? And if your answer was no, that's because you have an intuitive understanding of what actually holds value. And this also relates to the critique that Claude gave, which was, you don't have an exit strategy. And the reason I set up this whole scenario is to show you that if you are in something that has utility and value, you don't need an exit strategy. There's no trading it for something else. The point is to own the thing. So if I got all the money in the world, what would I buy with it? Anything I could that has utility. Now, if I have everything I need that has utility, why would I need the money? So the day that I actually hit $100,000, what my exit strategy is going to be is not one of getting $100,000. I'm not going to sell it all to cash because I don't value cash. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to buy the things that are valuable to me. So I might use it to get a place finally, or put a down payment on some land. I might use it for a trip or 1 year vacation. I don't know where I'm going to go or what I'm going to do, but I will tell you, when that day comes, I'm going to do what I value and what has utility to me. So that is my sell strategy, is not to then buy back dollars, but to buy the things that actually are meaningful. Now, hopefully you have a better understanding of my personal philosophy around money, holding assets versus holding cash. And now, most importantly, I want to hear from you guys. Do you agree with my perspective? Do you think differently? If so, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear from you guys. And at the end of every episode, we go through my actual portfolio, where it sits, any actions I took during the week. So let's get straight into that. No wait. So here we are in my actual portfolio. I buy everything on Wealthsimple in my TFSA. So if you're actually looking for a bank and you're in Canada, I seriously suggest Wealthsimple. Link in the description. I also have a link to Trezor. If you're interested in self-custody, which I do suggest, check my link down below. If you're interested, I use Trezor personally. So, but now back to the portfolio. We're up $239.49 as of recording this, and currently invested in an IBIT ETF is $2,750. And then in cash, we have the remaining $7,250, and nothing's really changed. My DCAs are still hitting every Monday, $250. My limit orders have not hit because Bitcoin price has been climbing since the point we started, and nothing out of the ordinary is really going on with my account. So these are the real numbers. I will share more of what's going on next week, so stay tuned for that. If you guys enjoyed the video, if you appreciate what I'm doing, follow, like, all that beautiful stuff, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.